And Anniyah, I know that this is very personal for you, and I'm really grateful that you've called in. And I know we've spoken to your mum before we've brought you on the radio this afternoon. But am I right in saying that you went to school with Elianne?
Hi, Tom. Yeah, that's right. I wasn't particularly close to Elianne, but obviously I'd known her since year 7, and since about year 9, we've had maths together and we've had science together. So I'd gotten used to having that 1 hour with her every single day. And it was just so unnatural and surreal the way that we came about finding out yesterday. I mean, obviously, you never expect things to happen like this. Where our school is located, it's sort of, as awful as this is to say, it's a very common thing that we hear about. Stabbings have happened, people have had incidents, fights, where there's been serious injuries and fatalities. And yesterday, there was a sort of eerie calm in the morning. And then towards halfway through third period, we were all called out into assembly, where we were told that in the morning, the Whitgift Centre incident had been Elianne and she'd passed away. And our school community is quite a tight one, so it's obviously, it's a feeling you don't forget when everyone, like no matter if they knew her or if they didn't, they all were united by the front that knife crime is just despicable.
How are you? Because anyone would be traumatised by that.
Honestly, that's quite a difficult question to answer because I never knew her like on a personal level. I wasn't friends with her. We were acquainted at most, but she was always nice to me. And the idea that so quickly someone can just not be in your life anymore or just around you anymore because of one person's inhumane actions is just, it's horrible. And I think our entire school community is in shock, like I am. School was optional today, and there was a chance to attend for a sort of memorial to Elianne, and it's shot tomorrow for us to sort of try to recuperate from what's happened.
I just wonder, you talk about the crime that was being committed in and around the school prior to this, Anniyah. I wonder whether you have felt safe walking to school, going to school, getting the bus to school.
That's the thing, because of, well, my mum's grown up in Croydon, she's born and bred here, and she's well aware of what it can be like in central Croydon specifically. So she's actually very, very hesitant to let me out into the world by myself. So she, at the start of year 7, I thought she was being a bit overdramatic when she insisted I take school-provided minibus services. But as the years have progressed, I understand that the ideology and the rationality behind that fear so much more, especially with what happened yesterday. Because as a young person, we shouldn't have to be going through this.
Absolutely.
As a young person, at 15 years old, we should be, our biggest worry in our lives should be what our futures are going to be like. If we have homework, if we have any exams to prepare for, we should be thinking about what our futures are going to be like, not if we have a future at all.
I've seen, Anniyah, some of the signs that are left now at the site where Elianne was killed, talking about persuading people to put the knives down, to stop the violence that there is now, particularly amongst younger people. And I can't, I did not grow up in an area or at a time particularly when I ever worried about my personal safety because of a knife at such a young age, going to school in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you know that it's such a massive issue and it's just a slip in the system, and everything that the law and the justice system are doing to sort of enforce the minimalization of using knives, it's just utterly futile, because you see these cases happen so often and you don't realize just how real it is until it happens to somebody you know.
And listen, Anniyah, I really, really hope that you are, and your friends and your cohorts at school are being supported with this, because as you say, it comes home when you see on the news the face of a person that you're in maths with every day.
Yeah, it does. And I feel like the media in general, they have a tendency to rush into things with these articles. Like, you see so much social media speculation over what happened. You see people just completely sort of disregarding the life that's been lost and talking about it and publishing about it without any confirmation of what's really happened. Like, for example, early today, this morning, I opened TikTok, I opened Instagram, I opened my news app. All of them were saying Elianne Andam. There was no confirmation, there was no checking behind the scenes, but they'd had a good scoop, so they just put it out. And I think that's the worst thing of all, because when you're trying to cope with realizing how close this hits to home, and you have all of these allegations, speculations being mass broadcasted, it's really not appropriate.
And makes it worse for you, I'd have thought, as well as, of course, for her family.
Yeah, it makes it much more difficult for her family, especially because these people publishing these stories speak about Elianne like they knew her. And I'm not saying that I did, because I wasn't friends with her at any point, even though she was always lovely to me. But it makes dealing with that grief and coming to terms with it so much more difficult and disrespectful.
Well, listen, I'm sure your mum and your dad and the people around you are there to support you and your classmates through this. But I think just put TikTok down, just leave it and try and focus on your friends and making sure that everyone is okay, because this is going to take some time, I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there was news that our school was closing down last week, and then this happened this week, and it's just shocked.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you feel like you've done the person you knew some justice on the radio this afternoon, having gone what you've gone through, having gone what her family has gone through.